And let's just dive right in to our first topic, which is something you guys ask me about every now and then. It just keeps coming up over the years, and I don't always have a chance to talk about it on the main channel. So this is the perfect opportunity, and that is, can you get Apple stuff for cheaper, for less? Well, the obvious answer is yeah, you can. But there's sort of a caveat. Let me set this up. Apple stuff is expensive. It's like premium. It's good quality. And the main way to get it cheaper is over time. Like when it's brand new, good luck getting it for any less than the MSRP. But as that product ages, maybe it's going to go on sale somewhere. And that's where you can snag it for a bit less. Or if somebody has used it and therefore time has passed and they're ready to sell it, then maybe you'll get it for cheaper. So the only real way, I think, to get stuff for cheaper from Apple is to wait a little bit. But there are a few strategies that you can use to snag some good deals on Apple stuff, and that's what we're going to talk about right now. The first route that you can take, and this is one that I've never done, but I would like to. I could definitely see myself doing this. Probably if I wasn't a tech reviewer and needed like the latest stuff to talk about. If I was just a regular person and not doing YouTube videos or podcasts, I would absolutely do this. I always think like this is such a good idea, and that is to buy refurbished. So what is a refurb, in case you don't know? It's basically somebody had a defective product or some sort of return or something, came back to Apple, and they fixed it. And they're ready to sell it at a slight discount. Now, it's only a slight discount because really it's just like new. It's just as good. I'm looking at Apple's website here, and you get guaranteed Apple quality is the way that they put it. So that's what you want, right? You don't want a piece of junk, even though it has some issue. You want that to be fully functional, something you can get super excited about. And for all intents and purposes, it basically is when you get it from Apple. And you also get a 1-year warranty. So that's pretty awesome. And on top of that, you can get Apple Care for your Apple refurb, right? So you can get all kinds of stuff here. You can get a Mac, an iPad, an iPhone, an Apple Watch, an iPod, HomePod, Apple TV. There's even a clearance section. But here's the catch. They don't have all this stuff all the time. And when they do have something in one of these categories, it's usually not brand new. And it kind of comes in batches, and then they sell those out, and then you gotta wait for something else. So for instance, here's a refurbished iPhone X, 64 gigs, space gray, unlocked for $769. Now that's $130 off. So if you're gonna buy this and you wanna save some money and you don't want a used phone, something that somebody's already kind of used up and scratched up, then hey, that's not bad. And that looks like about the top thing on the featured page in terms of how much you can save on an iPhone, about $130. If I scroll down the page a little bit, I'm seeing that you can get a refurbished 13.3-inch MacBook Pro, an i5 in space gray, that's normally $1,699 for $1,339. So what does that mean? That's $360 off. Again, like new, basically new, with the warranty, and you can get Apple Care for it. That's pretty cool. So maybe to take advantage of this, you gotta kind of have something in mind. Like you have to know you want an iPad and maybe a specific model. But even then, like, how do you know that it's available as a refurb? Well, you don't really, unless you're in there checking this all the time, which is not feasible. You're not gonna do that. But what's really cool, are you ready for this tip? There is a site. It's called Refurb Tracker. It's been around since 2007, actually, it looks like. And what it does is set you up with email alerts, or you could do an RSS feed, but really, who does that anymore? To let you know when that product that you're so interested in as a refurb is actually available. So this is doable. You can save some money here. You can know what you want ahead of time, stick it in Refurb Tracker, and grab it from Apple. Get that warranty, get that Apple Care. So that's one route that you can take. That's a legitimate way to save some money and get a brand new Apple device. Let's talk about another one, and that is just to find an actual deal or sale, which is actually a lot harder than I think it sounds, right? It's like, I'm gonna buy a new Apple Watch. I'm just gonna go find a deal. Well, you can't always. There's not always a deal available. But if there is a deal, there's two ways that I would use to find it. And the first one is Mac Rumors. Mac Rumors has a deal tracker, and several sites that do like Apple coverage actually do. They have their own deal trackers, but I've found that Mac Rumors has the best. They have my favorite because it's not just listing stuff. They actually have some features that they've built to really help you in your search for a deal. What I really love about Mac Rumors and what they have going on is that they have these price charts. And so they have all the Apple products listed. It's kind of like a table of contents. You click on one, let's say iMac, and you're taken to a very nice listing with some photos of what is available. And I can see right now there's one for $350 off, and it tells me that it's the lowest it's ever been. Now that's a good way to find a deal. There's another 21.5-inch iMac, for instance, right now that's $450 off and is the lowest that it's ever been. So it'll show you things like flash sales, and it breaks it down by the size or type of device and its configuration. It's just really, really very useful. So long and the short of it is, if there's like a weekly deal, this is probably your number one stop to check for whatever it is that you're looking for when it comes to Apple deals. But it's definitely not the only game in town. So the other place that I would check if I was you looking for an Apple deal right now would be Slick Deals, which of course is a forum-driven site where people can post deals and then vote those deals up, or the deals surface based on how much interest it's getting from people in the forums until it hits the homepage. And so I have to give a shout out to my brother-in-law for putting me onto this a couple of years ago. But here's what I would do. If you are looking for a deal and maybe you've already checked the Mac Rumors deal page, come over to slickdeals.net, and I'll link all this stuff down in the description for you. But hit Slick Deals and just search for Apple or iPad or whatever it is that you're looking for and see what's over there. All right, like I'm on there right now. I just typed in Apple and up came a bunch of stuff. You can get a nylon watch band for your Apple Watch for $15 at Target. You can get, and this is a good deal here, Apple AirPods headphones, the new ones with wireless charging case, so you don't have to put on some third-party cheap plastic silicone case to get wireless charging. Just get the official thing for $170. That's not bad. Where's that from? That's from Amazon. There's a similar deal at Costco as well. So this is an excellent place. Between these two, if you're gonna find an Apple deal that exists right now when you're looking to buy an Apple product, this is where you're gonna find it. Let's talk about another route that you could take though if you wanna save some money, and that is the trade-in. And for me, it's kind of like an infamous trade-in is how I would put it. You can trade in through Apple, and there's a bunch of different websites. Maybe I'll list some of those in the description too. But you can get like $400 up to that for your iPhone. You get up to $1,400 for your Mac, for your computer. That's not nothing, right? That's something. And so if you're gonna buy a new product, then you can subtract what Apple's gonna give you for your old product from the price. Now, the reason this is awesome if you're in the Apple ecosystem is because Apple stuff tends to hold its value very well. So if you buy an iPhone instead of an Android device, that iPhone is gonna be worth more down the line when it's time to trade in or sell or upgrade than the Android counterpart. Now, I tried this. I tried the official Apple trade-in program sometime in the last year and a half, I think. And I sent in 3 Apple Watches that I had laying around from the channel that I wanted to use to upgrade to one of the latest Apple Watch models to cover here on the channel. And what happened? Well, 2 of them did actually end up getting traded in, and I got gift cards for those, which I could then go to the Apple Store and use. But the 3rd one, it got sent back to me, and I forget exactly what the issue was. I wasn't real happy with this overall process. There was nothing wrong with any of the Apple Watches, but you have to create an account with this other company. It's like a third party. It's not actually through Apple. It's the official Apple-sanctioned way to trade in your stuff, but it wasn't actually Apple running the show. So I created this account, and then once my devices got in there, I had to log in and certify, check some boxes that everything was how it's supposed to be. And apparently I did that for the first 2, but I didn't do it on the 3rd one, apparently. And I don't remember ever getting a notification or anything. It's just one day it was denied and and it arrived back, shipped back to me. And I was like, I'm not going to mess with it. I'm not going to resend it back in. It's been enough of a pain already. So there was that. And then on top of that, they wouldn't take my ceramic Apple Watch. I think it's Series 3. I had a ceramic, which was one of the more expensive ones. Really loved the look, but it was huge. It was a lot thicker compared to the new one. So I was going to trade it in, but they wouldn't take it. They weren't going to take it. So I went through a few different questions. Is it in good shape? What's the configuration? And then at the end, it says, it's ready to recycle. We'll just recycle it for you. Well, I can recycle it. I don't need you to recycle it. I guess I can't technically do it exactly how Apple's going to do it in an environmentally friendly way, but come on. That was upsetting. It's like you pay extra for that and you get nothing back. Let's see, do I have another story about, I do. I have one more story about trying to trade in. My latest computer, if you've been following the saga, it had my MacBook Pro for 2016, a swollen battery. It was rocking around on the table. And so I was like, well, I'll see if I can trade it in. Because I saw the banner when I was on Apple's website. It's like, you can trade this in, get up to $1,400. I was like, yeah, let me check that out. And so same thing. Because it wasn't in perfect shape, they weren't even going to take it. It was ready for recycling. Also frustrating, but I guess kind of understandable. Although not really, because did I make the battery swell? No. But here's what happened. It actually had a good ending. I took it into the Apple Store and they fixed it really fast for free, even though it was from 2016, and it would have cost like $700 or $800 if they hadn't done that for free, but it was still within the special warranty period for that particular battery, even though apparently it was pretty rare, I was told. So anyways, it ended okay. Now I could probably trade it in and get some decent money. So yes, Apple Store support, the Genius Bar, I actually have had a lot of good experiences there. I know other people haven't. That's a whole nother segment that we should do on this show. All right, let's move on a little bit. And here's something that you could do. You're not going to want to hear this, but we're going to talk about it. You need to hear it. It's an option. And that is, you could just keep what you have. Now, maybe if it's broken, obviously, or there's some certain issue, you got to get rid of it. Fine. But what if nothing's really wrong with it? What if you could just keep using this one? My wife does this. She's like the opposite of me when it comes to technology. I always want the latest, the greatest, the best thing, even if I've only had something for like a little bit, and that's actually probably not good. That's kind of a little unhealthy probably, but I can't help it. I'm tech obsessed. But she, on the other hand, will keep an iPhone forever until it's like way out of date. But she loves doing that because she likes to save money, and she figures why not? Plus, she's like sticking it to the man in terms of, you want me to upgrade, but I'm not going to. Is anybody else like that? So anyways, you could do that. And you know what? It's like they say, penny saved, penny earned. Maybe that's the right thing to do. And maybe you can do like a combination. Hold on to what you got, but have something in mind. But check the deal sites that I mentioned. Maybe check out the refurbs. And when the thing comes in or up for sale that you want, that's a good strategy for saving a little bit of money. All right, let's talk about something else. And this one is a big revelation, I think, for a lot of people. And that is leasing. But business leasing in particular, because a lot of people do lease their phone, right? Through their carrier or from Apple, and instead of paying all up front, you kind of pay by the month, and that's more affordable instead of paying all at once, even though you pay more over the long term. But I didn't know this until recently, okay? This was a big revelation to me. Apple has an amazing small business program. So if you have a business, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're doing like startup stuff, or if you just have some employees and you need some stuff for them to work on to get their work done, check out Apple's small business team and program. What you do is call the nearest Apple store and ask to talk to the business team, the business manager, and they will hook you up with all the information that you need about this. So under this small business program, you can lease everything in the store. I think there's a minimum value of like $4,000 that you need to hit. So if you need a new computer, but you can't afford it like outright, and I'm not giving you this advice, I'm not saying spend money that you don't have, but check into this. If you can't afford like a $3,900 MacBook Pro, I actually got a quote for this, you can get one, and that's a good MacBook Pro, for $115 a month for 36 months. Hey, that's not too bad. Maybe you got a few team members, need some new gear. Wow, they can have some and do their work on new stuff. And there's some really great, there's like a $1 buyback program. And when the program's over, once it's been 1 month or 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, you can choose to buy that at fair market value to get out of that lease. It's kind of like a car. Like when you're done, do you want to keep it? There's some really cool ways that you can keep that gear or transition into something else at the end of the lease, also kind of like a car. So if you need a maxed out iMac that you could never afford outright, you can get that now. It's accessible through this business program. Now, when you tell somebody like me about that, that's like dangerous, because I'm like, wow, look at all the stuff that I could get and review here on the channel for this small business program. But don't go crazy. Use common sense, obviously, but that is a really good way to get some of the Apple gear that you need to get your work done that maybe you haven't considered before. So anyways, there's a few strategies for you to help you save some money in one way or another. I think these are really the best, most legitimate ways to do it that I've come across. And let me know down in the comments if you actually ended up saving and using any of these. I would love to hear that feedback.